I would like to show you a new feature in Long Exposure Stacker version 1.2. I'm going to load up just a few images here to illustrate this new feature, just to save some time. So let's look at these images. In particular, let's pay attention over here to this area where we'll see it. So let me put my mouse here so you can see things. And now what I'm going to do is switch to the last image in this sequence. First image, last, first. And you can see that there's quite a bit of motion. Let's go to this big rock in the middle, and same thing. This is the first image in the sequence, last, first, last. So what we have here is some motion, and originally Long Exposure Stacker required that the camera be held absolutely steady. But the problem here is that the tripod is set up on this wet beach, and the waves are lapping at one of the legs of the tripod, and the tripod is slowly sinking into the sand. As a result, as you can see, the images at the end, the camera is aimed not quite the same as it was at the beginning. So I have this new feature here, optional alignment. I'll toggle it open. So it comes up looking like this. Click it, toggle it open. The idea is that you paint things that are not moving. So this rock here, this big rock, it's not moving. I'm going to paint it blue. I'm using the square bracket key here to just make my brush a little bit bigger, go a little bit quicker. The sky, in some sense, it's not moving, but it also doesn't provide us any information that we can use for alignment. It's too flat. There's no information there. And if there were some clouds, they'd probably be moving. This water is moving. We definitely don't want to paint it. This top of this rock, I'm not painting the bottoms of these rocks because they're wet, they're getting splashed, things are dripping, things are moving there. Stay away from the edge here. These rocks over here in the distance, they're not moving. We'll paint those. In general, you want to paint everything that you can that is not moving and that has some texture that's going to help with alignment. And you want these things to be as spread out as possible. The more spread out they are, the better job the alignment will do. So this rock is good over here. I'm not going to paint anything on these rocks in the foreground because they're full of things that are moving. They're getting splashed occasionally by the waves, and so they're not a good source of information. Let me make the brush a little bit smaller, and I'll paint this higher, drier part of this rock, and same for this rock. Let me illustrate something here. Let's say I just accidentally went outside a bit. E key, erase, and I'll just trim this back to the size of the rock. And P key, and I can paint. So let's just, I can paint, and I can Command Z and undo the last stroke that I painted. So P to paint, E to erase, Command Z, you can undo the last stroke. This looks pretty good. I can add a little bit here. Probably not going to make much difference. Good enough for now. And I can say align in composite. So first it's going to align these 6 images and then composite the aligned images the same way as it did before. For the alignment, of course, it's just looking at the areas that have been painted. It's going to use that information to do the alignment. The rest of the image is going to be aligned based on the information it's extrapolating from the painted areas. So we're doing pretty good here. We got 4 done out of 5. Now we're doing the final composite. And we're done. Let's zoom in here and see how the alignment went. So this is the final image. That's the first image, last image. So the alignment is pretty much perfect. And so our final result is here. We have a sharp image. If we had more samples, we would have smoothed this out. This little soft area here, we can flatten that by having more images, and our reflections are here. So we have a bit of a study here in the different looks of water. And I also have shown you this new feature, which allows us to compensate for some motion in the camera that can happen when your tripod just can't be steady, when it's sinking into the sand, when you're on some surface which isn't as stable as you'd like it to be. And that feature's over here. The interface comes up with the optional alignment here. Click on it to toggle it open. If you don't bother with that, if your tripod is steady, you can just hit composite and it will work as it used to. So that's a new feature in Long Exposure Stacker version 1.2, alignment of the images.